As we arrive in the penultimate international break before Euro 2024 kicks off, the talk about who should start for England has ramped all the way up, and the number one topic of discussion is their midfield. Since the Nations League defeat to Germany back in June of 2022, Gareth Southgate has exclusively used a back four in either a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, depending on his midfield construction. But ahead of the summer, the England squad has matured and developed an incredible amount since their last tournament 18 months ago. Jude Bellingham has become one of the best players in the world. Declan Rice has moved to Arsenal for £100 million and has been on the forefront of their title charge. Trent Alexander-Arnold is now an inverted fullback and has started 2 of his last England games in a double pivot. John Stones is now stepping out from centre-half to midfield. And Bukayo Saka and Phil Foden are 2 of the best players in the Premier League this season. So we're here to break down what England's midfield should look like if they want to win Euro 2024. Firstly, the defensive midfielder must be Declan Rice, and there's no two ways about it. He's played the majority of this season as a single pivot and has been given far more on-ball responsibility than he had at West Ham. Therefore, he's matured in his genuine ability to dictate and keep the game flowing. But Southgate has been reluctant to use him as a lone defensive midfielder, often playing him next to Calvin Phillips or Jordan Henderson for coverage. And if England want to progress as a nation, this needs to change. Southgate's thinking is all down to England's structure. In possession, England have a clear plan. They want to create a 3-2 base at the bottom of their shape, with Kyle Walker mostly tucking in as the third centre-back in build-up play, with the 2 more reserve midfielders sitting just in front, screening, showing for the ball and linking the play in the centre. The key to Southgate's structure is that it's solid enough to win the ball in turnover, but they also have the right profiles and the shape to win the ball back and hold a large majority of the possession. So how do you incorporate England's incredible depth of talent without losing the solidity within the team? As discussed on our Euro 2024 special of Stick to Football, the forward and midfield options, if England want to get their best players on the pitch and dominate games with their quality, is frightening.
I'll go back to something I said in the last tournament. I think for England not to pick Phil Foden in the starting 11 is a crime.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a crime.
Yeah.
I think to have a player of that talent and ability.
Where?
I'm putting him on the left because Pep sometimes plays him there. I think he can put those balls in for Kane with his left foot. I'm not saying it's his best position, but I just think...
I'd have Foden in there. If you were talking about Rashford, I wouldn't be disappointed if you see Sterling in there, don't get me wrong. But again, it's hard to leave Foden out of the team.
So you would play Foden with Bellingham and Rice in midfield, would you?
I think so, yeah. He could do that.
I think you could play that.
Would Trent not play in there?
I was thinking about this, and I said this the other day, because I think the one area where England are weak, we're talking about being on the left really strong and maybe at right back really strong. I think where we're really weak is almost the central midfield in that. Jordan Henderson's a lot older now, he's playing in Saudi Arabia. Calvin Phillips is not playing. There's not that many, I would say, top central midfield players. So you've got Declan Rice, who I absolutely love. I think he's as good as anyone in that role. I actually think you could look at Trent in that position. That's where he plays for England.
Staying there or going back out to right wing back?
No,
Just staying there.
Just Kyle Walker's right back.
Yeah.
Just almost sort of sit along, maybe a little bit higher than Declan Rice, and Bellingham's doing his thing. But you've just got Trent there just making passes, and controlling the game from there. I just think, as you say with Foden, I think Trent's ability on the ball is that good that you're almost not have to find a position for him, but it's not really his true position. I think that's where he will eventually go to in midfield. But I think I'd go with Trent because it doesn't feel like there's too many other options anyway.
A position that's been missing in recent tournaments for England, in Southgate's words, is a midfield organiser with the ball, using players like Modric and Busquets as an example. But it appears Southgate may have found somewhat of a solution to that problem in Kobby Mainoo. The 18-year-old has been vital for Manchester United as a single pivot, a double pivot, or as an 8. And it's been the teenager's appreciation of the ball in tighter spaces, in the pass and the carry, especially against Liverpool, that has made the England gaffer turn to him to provide that dynamic that the Three Lions are crying out for. Before people wonder about the uncapped midfielder not being physically ready to start for England, he currently has the highest dual win success rate out of his club teammates in midfield. And as far as on-the-ball ability goes, only Sofian Amrabat has a higher passing accuracy and lesser turnover rate than Kobby Mainoo. But there are reservations on how solid England would be defensively with all this attacking quality on the pitch. So how do you find the perfect balance? One of them is that you could use Alexander-Arnold as a right or left back, looking to bring him infield as he does for Liverpool. This means that Southgate can still have his back three structure, with either Kyle Walker tucking in as the right centre-back or someone like Joe Gomez tucking in as the left centre-back, which both of the players are familiar with doing for club and country, with Rice and Trent just in front for protection. And this is natural because Declan Rice and Trent Alexander-Arnold have played in a genuine double pivot for England before, and they've formed a good chemistry because of it. Trent often sits deeper than the midfield six when it comes to playing for his club, and this suits Rice because he can be more free on the ball and carry it forward, with Trent offering longer and more direct passing in behind the opposition's back line that our direct runners like Bukayo Saka can latch onto and turn them into goals. And this exact pattern has occurred multiple times with Trent in field. Southgate has even alluded himself to Trent Alexander-Arnold having a technique and passing range that no one else does for England, and that giving him the role as a genuine midfielder is yes different to his role at club football, but not completely unfamiliar, and that his development in the central areas on and off the ball for the past few years for club and country has been incredible. But there's been a demand for fans that they want to see Phil Foden and Jude Bellingham as the 2-8s ahead of Rice, which Southgate has never played before for England. In theory this sounds effective though, having Bellingham roaming in behind and getting on the end of passes, going box to box, carrying the ball and being competitive in duels, alongside Foden, who can receive the ball in ridiculously tight spaces. He's a terrific dribbler, can create chances and can score. And this structure would also allow you to have a front three of Bukayo Saka, Harry Kane and one of either Marcus Rashford, Jack Grealish, Raheem Sterling, Anthony Gordon or even Jarrod Bowen on the left side. And even though we've never seen Foden and Bellingham as two genuine midfielders for England in the starting 11, there's been many moments since the World Cup that indicates that this shape could work. Take Rashford's goal against Italy for example, when Bellingham used his combativeness in defensive midfield to win the ball back in England's own half. Foden receives it, wins the ball, turns and flicks it round the corner. And from here, England have a 3v3 with Bellingham galloping into the open space, with runners around him, and this sequence finishes with Foden, Kane, Rashford and Bellingham all lurking in the box. That is the potential of this midfield construction. As we've said though, Gareth Southgate wants solidity, and if you take the game against Italy for example, he had used a 4-4-2 shape off the ball, with a man-to-man marking system on the midfield pivot. And if you were to use this hypothetical 11, this structure would not really change. At the top of the structure you could have Kane and Rashford, with Foden dropping into more of a left winger position, as he's much more reliable at tracking his opposition fullback in comparison to Marcus Rashford. And the midfield pivot could be Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice naturally sitting in front of the back line. And Jude Bellingham is more than comfortable at sitting in a double pivot out of possession, as this is where he played for Dortmund last season the entire time. Jude Bellingham has the ball winning capabilities to do that role, and Foden has the legs and positional discipline to track the opposition's fullback. But the Three Lions are at a stage in their process now when they cannot be the inferior team in these major tournaments, because in the grand scheme of it, they have one of the most talented group of players in international football, full stop. So as a nation, we need to understand how we have to maximise that quality on the pitch. So, do you think Gareth Southgate will change his midfield ahead of Euro 2024 to finally bring home an international trophy? Or do you believe that he will stick with what has got England to this position that they're in right now?